Our review of the week is Zack Snyder's Justice League, the hashtag Snyder Cut. The original one being released back in 2017, only to be re released under Snyder and HBO Max this past weekend. Um, so I guess let's just start out with some initial thoughts here. How do we feel about the hashtag Snyder Cut? I'm gonna go with let's start with Flicks here because he's the biggest Snyder fan in the pod.
Here we
Well,
go.
wow. I am shocked because it's actually good in my eyes. Like it's actually good. I have had my doubts about the Snyderverse. I liked Man of Steel. I did not like Batman versus Superman, and obviously nobody liked Justice League that much. So I did not have high hopes even for a Snyder cut movie. It wasn't hard to get past to the 2017 Justice League cut, that version. So I knew it was going to be better, but to be this much better, I am shocked and gladly shocked. And there goes my alarm. And one last thing up before I turn it over to Dr. Rowe is that I am actually really shocked that they actually a lot of the great action scenes in the 2017 version, those were like the only good scenes in that version, and they stayed here in this version. And that's just good to see that still some of Snyder's effects, some of Snyder's creative mindset still had an effect on that one, even though that was a complete failure. Dr. O.
So it was an absolute joyride to watch this 4-hour film. I think what I like most about it is that it was so different from 2017's Justice League. Everyone kept saying, is it really going to be a whole different story? Are they really going to be introducing these characters in a new way to kind of like, we all knew it was going to end on a cliffhanger. But what I think I liked about it most is that it lived up to Snyder's true vision. They didn't try to marvelize it like they did 2017. You could tell based on, right, it's got all of Snyder's like elements that he loves in his movies, whether it's like the slow dramatic music he's talking about, the large scale epicness of a movie, almost treating these characters like mythological like beings, right? And I am ecstatic that this came, but I am saddened that it's gonna basically live up to nothing in terms of sequels, spin-offs, because there is so much to dive into with this movie, right? So many new characters introduced, so much teased at the end. But I am happy for Zack Snyder. I'm happy for DC fans. There almost feels like a little bit of vindication, right? Based on what Snyder was building to back with Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. And then obviously here comes the Snyder cut. But I was very satisfied. This is borderline. I'm going to say it's superhero masterpiece. Superhero
Wow.
masterpiece, I would say. That's how good I think this movie is. Naz, what were your initial thoughts?
This movie, all right. So first of all, I don't. There's never been like a 4 hour superhero movie, so I don't know how you guys watched it. If you watched it all the way through, I, I guess unintentionally watched it in 4 separate hours because I just couldn't get through. I don't have enough time in the day to watch a 4 hour
He's
movie.
a busy man,
I've just,
folks.
I'm just very busy. I'm bouncing all over the place all the time. Um, but listen, I'll say this: I'm thoroughly impressed. I liked the movie. I mean, I don't think it's not the greatest superhero movie of all time, but wow, he did. Honestly, I had low expectations. I'm gonna be honest, and now I'm blown away. So sometimes, guys, it's good to lower your expectations because then you can't be disappointed. And I am just
Mhm.
enthralled. First of all, the way that they put together the story was much better.
Yeah.
I want to say Cyborg, incredible in this movie. Loved Cyborg in this movie. I honestly really liked all of them. The only one that kind of got on my nerves a little bit, maybe Aquaman every once in a while. But other than that, listen, it was incredible to watch. A lot of classic Zack Snyder effects. I do think he uses the 3D slow motion. He kind of abuses that
Loves
effect.
it.
Like
Loves it.
every time
Obsessed.
anything happens ever, like there's like a 3D like slow motion, like zooming around. Like, but he's mastered it. He does it really
Mhm.
well. So I get why he does it. And honestly, I'm going to be the first to say this. I know that everybody else is thinking it though, but Zack Snyder is. I don't want to say the perfect, but he is a very good director to have for a comic book movie, because when you do those slow motion shots, those effects that are kind of 3D where you can see it moving, it basically temporarily creates a comic book panel on the screen.
It's like those
Because
stills, you know, those
yes,
stills you see
Yeah.
on the internet.
exactly. And I think that's what people saw when they were signing these petitions and trying to get this guy to direct this Justice League, because they saw the
Visionary.
vision. And you know what, guys, I'm starting to come around. I'm starting to see it too. I am.
Yeah. I mean, that's big. If Nez is saying he's coming around to it, like this is a guy who was like, I mean, we've all trashed like Zack Snyder's previous movies, but I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think one place we could start is like one major difference between the Snyder cut and the theatrical version is the treatment of the character of Cyborg. I think Cyborg was someone that was mistreated in the initial theatrical release. We know Ray Fisher has had his disagreements with Warner Brothers and specifically DC. But and it seems in the 2017 version, we didn't get enough backstory on Cyborg. He was new to the team. It almost felt like he was a little rushed and pushed into the team rather than like that buildup you see with like classic Marvel movies to a team up. He was kind of just thrown in there. And then this movie, though, they give him the backstory. They give him the emotional weight of the movie, I would say. And there's multiple like variations of emotional weight. We can go Barry Allen with his relationship with his dad, right? We see that in the end scene too. But I think Cyborg, he was, as Zack Snyder said, the heart of this movie. And I've done a complete 180 on my thoughts on Ray Fisher. His performance in this movie was awesome. I thought he was sick, right? And I honestly, I'm disappointed that we don't get to see like that intended Cyborg movie now, or that mini series, or his team up with the Flash. Like everything was teased in this movie, and it looks so awesome. And the treatment of the characters by Snyder was so accurate that it just makes me sad that we're not going to see it. It's so disheartening.
I'm gonna make a
Yeah.
bold prediction here. We're gonna see it.
Oh, that's bold. That is bold. I don't
How bold is it?
because
We
Ray
just
Fi-
watched a 4-hour movie that
so
the fans got. The
Right.
fans got this movie. The
Right,
fans got this,
and-
made the Snyder cut happen. So if people are receptive to it and they like it, so that's just a studio head or whatever. Just they're like, no, we don't want this because we've already budgeted for all these other movies, right? But then circle back here, people are loving this movie. If people are wanting more, they're clamoring. They start running those
no,
petitions again, and guess what? Now it's not just Zack Snyder fans. Now it's people who are Justice League fans. Now it's people who are like, wow, we watched that Snyder cut and we want more. Those petitions, they pick up a little bit of steam. Those petitions pick up some steam.
Literally.
Movie Twitter gets, fully backs Zack
yeah.
Snyder.
So
It was
yeah,
hashtag
let me just
release
jump
the
in
Snyder
here.
cut.
All
Now
right,
it's
I'm gonna
hashtag
all right.
restore the Snyderverse.
I'm jumping in here. All right, so I think with any other project related to Justice League or DC, it's gonna I think there's a chance. Obviously, after the Snyder Cut even happening, I think the only thing that's a no chance whatsoever is a Cyborg series or movie. Ray Fisher and that's the whole point of that rant. I think that's literally never going to happen after the issues that have gone on after the production of the 2017 theatrical version. I just don't think that will ever happen between Warner Brothers and Ray Fisher. But I echo you guys' thoughts. I thought Cyborg was actually really good, and that whole story actually made sense in the 2017 version. Not only did the whole plot didn't make sense, it really didn't make sense because Cyborg's character and backstory in that movie was so sped up and just didn't make sense at all. And it clearly, when Zack Snyder said he's the heart of this movie, obviously because he's the one actually breaking the unity, but also with his backstory, he was clearly the main person they focused on with all the different backstories of the characters. Because remember, this movie was supposed to come out after Batman versus Superman, but pre-Aquaman and obviously pre-Flash. So that's why you had those other two characters having main storylines, main backstories in this. But Cyborg was the main backstory. Now, moving on to a different backstory, I thought Aquaman was the worst out of the bunch. I think Nez was saying earlier, I think his airtime of his backstory, we already saw his solo movie, so I feel kind of bad saying this because it was kind of just redundant seeing it again, and it was before obviously the solo movie. But just like the scene with the singing, that was just tough. It was tough to watch in the beginning of the movie. So things like that, we just didn't honestly need it.
Oh, with the girl singing as you went in the water.
Yeah, that was
That's
just
that's just like it goes to the point I was trying to make. It's like kind of like people hate or like about Zack Snyder in terms of
mhm,
how he handles superheroes. Like as I said, he treats them like gods. So it's like they're singing this like song, almost seems like a religious hymn. Like as
Mhm.
he's going, like they're so grateful that he's graced them with their presence. He's going in the water. They start singing this
right.
beautiful song.
Every
It's
year,
like
yeah.
what people either like or don't like about Zack Snyder.
Mhm.
Personally, that was annoying. That song stunk. Like
Yeah.
it was terrible. But also like I'm sorry, Ricky, if I interrupted you a bit here, but
No,
like
go,
in
go, go,
terms
go.
of like the music and what I was getting a little annoyed was Wonder Woman. Every time she did
Oh
something,
God.
it was like I felt like I was at the end was the end of Gladiator, with that music that was playing. It's like the
Or 300.
like
Oh,
yeah,
dude, I
it's
get
just like
so hyped. No,
I'm just like
But it
I do
got
it
annoying.
but
differently.
it was like every
It
time she
was
did
overkill.
something.
It was
She,
overkill.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
did she pay off the guy that wrote the score? Because she's the only
Junkie
person that I
XL.
could I knew like her theme. Every time she came on the screen, every time she did anything, just oh, like,
Yeah.
and you just see her just like. But it was actually I got hyped when that happened. She has the best music by far, and it got used a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
I
definitely
liked
the
it.
best music.
I like I don't know if it was the best music like for her, but I
It's
did
the
like
only one the only memorable one.
No,
like what go ahead, Flex. Sorry.
What's
yeah. Let
Superman's
me
theme?
jump in.
I just
So,
know.
well, I think Superman was also pretty clear with him. But
Mhm.
going back to the Wonder Woman and just the music in general, there were some moments where in this movie where the music was on point. Like the music in the Wonder Woman scene in the beginning was on point because it was
So
the first time you
different.
heard it.
Yeah.
The scene in first scene with the Flash actually using his superpowers saving Iris West, that music was on point. But then it was either overkill or it was just the tone was off, like with the music selections at some points.
Mhm.
And in a slow movie like that, you really want to keep with the tone so people don't turn it off and things like that. Obviously, it's a superhero movie that has insane action sequences, so no one's going to turn it off. But still, that really just threw me off a little bit. Not just the overkill, but just also the music selection at points. But at other points, perfection.
Yeah, so like I like the flash scene. I low key it was like one of my favorite parts of the movie with when he saves Iris West.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people won't like that because it was so unnecessary. Iris West didn't even have a single line, but in terms of like the action sequence, like the song going, him hitting the glass, it exploding the way it does, right?
Hmm.
You got the Barry Allen infused humor. He's putting the hot dog in his pocket and everything like that, and then the way he wraps her arms around her to make sure she's safe. It was like really pure. It was like a great moment. But there's other times like Aquaman, like in the original Justice League, where they got Icky Thump bumping, he's smashing a bottle of
Yeah.
Jack Daniels or whatever. That's sick. I like
Yeah.
that. But then
I
they
like that
kind of
song.
added like it goes with the epicness of Aquaman. So they kind of were like they changed it up a bit. But I couldn't agree more. Junkie XL absolutely murders this. That Wonder Woman scene, where it's her basically her introduction when those terrorists are infiltrating that museum or whatever and they endanger those kids. That music change just said everything right at the beginning of the movie. The tone change this is gonna have, right? And when I saw that, I'm like, this is a different movie. This like literally it showed how much
Yes.
a score can affect a movie. And I know that's like one of Nez's favorite aspects of movies, and I couldn't agree with that aspect more. To go on and to a different tangent here regarding the movie, a big part of it, a difference, and a lot of complaints being made right now is the runtime. 4 hours long. Do you think a 4 hour runtime help or hurt this movie, Nez?
I think it helped it. I think that I mean, all the things that they had to get through in this movie, they needed. Now, did it need to be a 4-hour movie? No. Could it have been a 4-hour epic in two parts? Perhaps.
His
Could they have
original
released it
plan.
on could they have released it on HBO Max as a 4-hour mini series with 1-hour episodes? Perhaps. But I think all in all, the fact that there's 4 hours of movie or content, Scorsese would not like me to say that, but content,
Uh-oh.
you needed that. There's so much. And honestly, it could have been longer. There's so much
Yeah.
stuff that they had to get through. They have to get through a bunch of different origin stories. They have to get through Superman coming back and not remembering and attacking the Justice League. And then they have to, and they didn't even they barely just scratched the surface with Darkseid, right? Because they're setting him up for another movie that may or may not be coming. But I understand the criticism. It's a 4-hour movie, but at the same time, this is a 4-hour movie that was supposed to be two-hour epics. So honestly, like I while it was tough to get through for me and I had to watch it, 4 different times, I understand why you needed it because I mean, I'm okay with it. Like I'll take it. My biggest problem with Batman vs Superman is they tried to fit like what 2-3 comics into one movie. And it all just went way too fast. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Oh, this happened, and Batman and Superman fought, but now they're teaming up together, and we're starting the Justice League. And it was just like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Like, I hated that. So then they actually needed to focus on like bringing the Justice League together.
yeah,
Think about Marvel. I mean, they did how many movies before they did the Avengers, right?
Mhm.
And DCEU had what 2-3 movies before
Basically
Justice
2.
League. Yeah, basically 2. So they needed this. They needed this like huge runtime. They needed a
One
Yeah.
huge chunk of movie so that they could just pull
they
this off.
they needed this huge runtime to execute Snyder's vision for his Snyderverse. They needed that runtime for that. And his original plan, like we just mentioned, was 2 movies for this. So he was also still trying to fit in 2 movies into this movie.
Mhm.
Also, another thing I want to say is that when this got announced, the Snyder Cut was happening, right? If we were actually going to get one, if this was announced as it was going to be 4 1-hour parts, I think there wouldn't be any backlash to it. I don't think we wouldn't even be talking about it. We would be talking about, oh, did it actually work? Did the transition work from episode to episode? These once a week things, once a week episodes or parts. I don't think it would get this backlash or negativity towards it. And you can watch it in parts. So there shouldn't be this
Right.
much backlash about it. And then finally, just quickly, this is really a 3.5-hour movie. The epilogue is a half hour, 25
It's
minutes.
really not connected at
And
all to like what
Zack
happens.
Snyder always does this in his movies, and I hate it. He doesn't have a clear distinction of a post-credit scene. It's always like seems like it's a part of the movie. So like
Nightmare.
Yeah.
it just like that, the Martian Manhunter post-credit scene, but it wasn't credited as a post-credit scene.
That whole last
So
30 minutes was
right.
credit.
So I hate
Yeah.
people keep saying it's a 4-hour movie. It's really 3.5. I know it's still wicked long. And if they cut down on the slow motion scenes, it could have been 3 hours, maybe 2.5. But
Mhm.
I just want to say like it was really 3.5, you know?
Literally
No,
with the slow-mo
I
most
get
of
it.
the time.
Yeah. No, you're totally right about that. I mean, the epilogue was
Yeah.
extremely long, but
Mhm.
arguably the best part of the movie.
It was sick.
I was a little confused because, like, listen, I'm not that well versed in the comics, but I was like, oh wow, they defeated Steppenwolf, but wait, there's like 45 minutes left in the movie. Oh man, is this when Darkseid comes out and they fight him too?
Right.
And then it's like,
I
no,
think
this
that's what
is
fans were expecting.
this long drawn out epilogue. But really, honestly, it was like it was pretty sick. Like, so first of all, the last fight was epic. They straight up
A lot
alley-ooped.
better.
Wait, hold on. Spoilers, right?
Yes. This is all spoilers.
Yeah, it's all
Watch
Yeah,
the
I'll put
Snyder
it.
cut.
We're gonna put it. Yeah, watch the Snyder cut. It'll be in the thing. All right, they straight up alley oop Steppenwolf,
It was so much better than
Aquaman,
2017.
Aquaman to Wonder Woman. Oh, puts it in.
Bang!
Literally.
And then a Darkseid just squashing Steppenwolf's head. Like
That
just
was
ruthless.
awesome. He
But,
gets
It was unbelievable.
I wanted to say something about the runtime before we move away from it.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I think it would have been better if they announced it as a series because people have
Yes.
expectations of once you say it's a movie, everyone's going to sit down for 4 hours and watch it. Then they're at the end, they're going to say this was long AF, right? That's just
Yeah.
naturally what's going to happen. So why not make it was initially going to be this, and I think it was Snyder's like request make it a movie, but as a filmmaker, I understand that he wants to do that. But at the same time, it's a great decision to have 4 hours, no matter if it's a series or a movie, because as Ricky Flick said, it kind of explains his vision. A lot of decisions made from Batman versus Superman are justified in this movie. Right.
Yes.
So it's like that backstory with Lex Luthor and like the mother boxes with
Mhm.
Steppenwolf. That scene is not in Batman versus Superman. It was released months later as a deleted scene. And they said, yes,
Mhm.
this is canon, right? This is what happens. And then like when you see Batman versus Superman the first time, you see Bruce Wayne, right, confronting Lex Luthor in prison, saying like, "Oh, the bells have rung," trying to refer to Darkseid, like Darkseid's coming. But like when you watch Batman vs Superman, you're like, I mean, what does that mean? But then you
Right.
find out this is the whole reason. It's like that interaction is the whole reason Ben Affleck creates his team. And so it's like it's just the way, and then like having Superman's death connect to the mother boxes the way it didn't do in Justice
Loudest
League.
yell of all
Like,
time.
all of this is coming together because of this long runtime. Because Zack Snyder doesn't have to worry about, do I have to fit this in? What is the studio going to cut out? Okay, I could just make my movie the way I want. And if he's able to do that with a sequel for Justice League on HBO Max, I think we could be looking at something incredibly special. And that's why this CEO of Warner Media is an absolute doofus for announcing that there's not going to be a sequel the Monday after you release the dang movie.
Just say you don't know.
Thing of all time.
Just say you don't know.
It's
Why ruin the hype around it?
This is the height of the DCEU craze right now. This is the height.
Superhero craze besides Endgame. Like this is the height.
Yeah.
I mean, just wait. The Snyder army is going to mobilize, and
let's go.
Everything will.
We will join you.
We are joining. I will join you. I will join you.
This will join us.
I will join the Snyder fans, and I want a sequel to this so bad,
yes.
so bad.
No,
are you kidding me?
So
the way they just ended that,
it's insane.
Holy crap.
It's insane how after those CEOs' comments, within the hour there were 100,000 tweets about the Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah.
And like within the hour, that's more than any other like event within like the hour in the movie superhero universe of trending wise. Like that's insane. Within the hour, 100,000 tweets.
This movie was the one time that literally Warner Brothers satisfied, right, the DC fans in terms of announcements, in terms of anticipation for a movie. Ever since Zack Snyder was kind of pushed away a little bit from Justice League, obviously he had
tragedy.
his family tragedy with Autumn and everything. You saw at the end of the Justice League, Zack Snyder's version, it says for Autumn, but this was rejuvenated, right? The fan base, and then like at literally their peak after this, you're just gonna shut them down like that, and you know they're gonna come after you. But that's all I'll say about that. What I do want to go to is I want to talk about Darkseid. Nick brought him up briefly. He did not even get a name drop in the 2017 version of Justice League when Joss Whedon took over, obviously cut out of the film. So, boys, what did we think of Darkseid's portrayal here by actor Ray Porter? Flicks, we'll start with you.
Oh, well, starting with the portrayal, I guess. I thought he was great. I don't really know him, but I thought Darkseid was menacing, intimidating, just literally darkness. He was amazing. And also, I just want to say, it makes sense. Like Steppenwolf, the inclusion of Darkseid makes Steppenwolf look that much better. Not just on screen, he does look a lot better.
Good point.
But Steppenwolf now also makes sense because when you watch this 2017 cut before seeing this, you just could tell that there's something missing here. He's the big bad, but the story doesn't make sense. You could tell. And that's what made that movie also not as good, because you always need a strong villain. And he's obviously strong, but this movie makes him look a lot stronger. And also, you get that backstory, a deeper story for Steppenwolf because of Darkseid being involved, because of the interactions with Desaad throughout the movie. And I thought, I honestly, I wanted more Darkseid. Who doesn't, right? But it made sense. His screen time as of right now, or in the movie right now at the time, it does make sense. And even though I wish I saw more, he was sick when he was in it, and it makes sense the amount of time he was in it.
Steppenwolf, kind of a scrub.
Dude, he dominates.
He's a failure.
For Superman. Dude, can we wait, sorry. Can we just talk about this for a second? After Earth, he was going to have to defeat or take down 50,000 more worlds? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
50,000.
That's why he done messed up, man. Like he done messed up. Whatever
Do not betray Darkseid.
He done messed up. But
isn't it because he failed last time? Is that not why?
He betrayed Darkseid.
Yeah.
Oh, he betrayed Darkseid.
But I don't think it went into too much detail. That's why I wrote a blog about spinoffs we need to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like a prequel series with Darkseid on his deteriorating relationship with Steppenwolf would be amazing. Mm-hmm. But
yes.
Nez, what did you think of Darkseid in this movie?
Darkseid, I thought was cool. I mean, there's a big bad, right? We have like a big bad. We have something to look forward to. We have a little bit, and it's good. They did that little bit of, they kind of teased him, right? He's like this very powerful person. It's kind of weird, I guess, when you look at like the plot itself. Like, why can't you just like attack? Like, you're right there, just like attack. but like at the same time,
That's what I was thinking at the end of the movie. Just like fight him.
Just
Do it.
jump
yeah,
over the line.
that's what I thought I was gonna. I was like,
Superman
okay,
go.
oh, all
Superman
right,
okay.
goes and they close the portal.
Oh,
yeah, but
ultimate cliffhanger.
oh yeah, no, that's gonna that's a story that I would like to see. But anyways, Dark Side, no, I like how it's kind of mysterious. He's kind of ominous, and he seems very all powerful and sketchy. And then also, I think it plays into his lore, his the power of his character when you do these after credits or the epilogue where it's like this like doomsday apocalyptic scenario. Like that's pretty sick. One thing I do want to say about that scenario though, like if I'm Batman and it's the apocalypse, like who cares about my identity? Like why am I still dressing like a bat?
Yeah,
It's
like
the end
he
of the
still wears the
world.
mask. All like all of his arch enemies know who he is, and he still wears it.
That's
Probably
what
he's
the dust
comfortable
out
in.
of his eyes.
That's what he's comfortable in.
I guess so.
His
Makes
true
him feel like a
identity
bat.
isn't
Looks
Bruce
great now.
Wayne, it's Batman.
I just wanted to quickly say about Darkseid. I agree with Ricky Flex. Truly menacing. And I was a little hesitant when initially it was announced that Darkseid was cut out of the movie. It was going to be played by this nobody actor named Ray Porter, but his voice was electric. Like it was so good. And then like the way that Darkseid looked on screen, like he looked like an unstoppable force. And people like to make the comparisons to Thanos. Thanos thought he was helping the world, like helping the universe by what he was doing. Darkseid is just pure evil. And that's why he gets me so hyped, but also like disappointed that we may not be able to see him like with his full vision, right? With his full apocalyptic universe, using the anti-life equation, having Superman kneel down before him. Like that was just a powerful image in and of itself. So he was awesome. And Steppenwolf, we talked about differences between the 2017 movie and the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Steppenwolf was a 10 times better character in this movie. He still is a failure, right? But the action sequences with Steppenwolf, right? When he flexes and the arrows are coming at him, he just flexes and all of a sudden they pop out. He's grabbing horses by the bottom and chucking them in Themyscira. Like that whole scene in Themyscira, I was just like, wow, this is
so
10
much
times better than what I saw like in 2017. And he just looked physically better. Like he just like in terms of CGI, it was way improved. So Steppenwolf, awesome. And he even had an emotional backstory, his life living with failure, knowing that he has to live up to Darkseid's expectations, right? And if he doesn't, he knows he has hell to pay. So big fan of Darkseid. Going on, Nez, brought up the epilogue, and the epilogue is being much discussed right now on Twitter, mainly because you have the introduction of you have cameos, I would say, of many different DC characters. One being Martian Manhunter, another being Deathstroke, and then finally Jared Leto's Joker. Okay,
and
so
Future
boys,
Flash.
Future Flash. What an amazing costume too.
That was sick.
That was amazing. Where it's just full.
Yeah, I
once
love
again,
seeing
right?
that.
He's just keeping the dust out of his eyes, I guess. But he is running pretty fast. But I don't even know where to start. I think we should start with Martian Manhunter, and let's talk about his inclusion in the movie. So, Flix, what do you think about him appearing in the Snyder Cut?
Okay, so I'll start with a positive. He looked awesome. My God,
You're right.
I love this character in the Justice League animated series, but my God, this was awesome live action. Okay, now to the bad news. One, why in the heck was he in it? Like non-post credit scene, non-epilogue. Like made no sense to visit Lois. I know they have a history, like him, his real life, him as a general, human wise. Yeah, Harry Lennox. But like as a reporter general, like relationship, like very odd. And then the post credit scene, just terrible terrible screenwriting, terrible. Like, and the one that pops out to me is, oh, by the way, people call me Martian Manhunter. Like, if to make it like flow better, yeah, you could just say that you could just have Bruce Wayne go, so what do people call you, or like what's your name, like the general introductions. Like what? Like why
So
are you
what are
popping
we?
down? Yeah,
Some kind of Martian manhunters.
It's like Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy telling people his name's Star-Lord,
but not as a joke,
dude. If some guy walked up to me and was like, "Hey, people call me Martian Manhunter," I'd be like, "That's cool, dude. I'm calling the police."
Yeah. He could
Like
have said Jean.
and another
You know?
or be like, you could call me whatever. I don't know. They don't.
And
I guess they want because they wanted people. They wanted to make it clear. But
But
also another thing is
If
this
they couldn't
guy's
tell
like,
by the green
and it was
skin.
odd. Like if he wasn't in the movie earlier, it would have been so much better because they'll be like, "Whoa, Martian
no, they show-
Manhunter."
yeah, another thing like this guy just shows up at Bruce Wayne's house or whatever, Batman, and he's just like flying up and he's just like, "What's up, dude? I got powers. Like, I want to join the Justice League." And Batman's just like, "Yeah, sure, dude. That's cool. Yeah, that's fine. You could do it." Like,
The
if I
man
what
can fly and he's green. Come on now.
can anybody just show up and be like, "Yeah, I spit acid. Can I join the Justice League?" And Batman would probably just be like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe you. We could take all the help we can get."
Right.
Like,
So
it was kind of weird. He was just like, "Oh, you okay? You want to help? Yeah, fine. Yeah, like whatever."
so in terms of like a pure movie, like look, if
I'm
you
not
like,
wearing hockey pads. Sorry.
if we're not, that's gonna hit the trailer. But if you're not looking at it as a superhero movie, you're just looking at a pure movie. You're like, what the heck is this? Right. So this is like what kind of separates a regular movie from a Snyder cut. He knows he's trying to please the DC fans. This is like
Fanfare,
what he
baby.
promised. Like he notices I'm probably not going to be able to make a second movie. I'm going to hint at what potentially could have been there. Right. I'm going to bring in Martian Manhunter for a scene. I'm going to show you what he was going to look like. Right. He apparently shot a John Stewart scene as Green Lantern in his backyard that Warner Brothers
disappointment in
forced
this
him to
movie.
cut. But I think that and there was no background towards Martian Manhunter. You have no idea why he's on Earth. You don't know why he wants to help out Bruce Wayne. All he says is, I have a stake in this world, but you don't know how he got to Earth in the first place. So once again, Snyder Cut might not get a sequel, but if we want to get a potential spinoff here on HBO Max, I wouldn't hate a little Martian Manhunter prequel series, right? I
Yes,
wouldn't
sign
mind
me
that.
up.
How did he get there? Provide some context here. Help
Let's
us out,
go.
you know?
That would be
So-
a great series.
I'm all in on that. Let's move on to let's talk about some Deathstroke, right? Deathstroke initially had a cameo at the end of 2017's Justice League. He basically was in it with Lex Luthor after Lex Luthor broke out of prison, and then Lex Luthor offers him an opportunity to join him for to help make up the Legion of Doom, right? Or the Injustice League, either one you want to call them. So in the Snyder Cut, we have Lex Luthor inviting Deathstroke to his ship, his yacht, after he breaks out of prison, and instead offers up Batman's secret identity, right? And then it really doesn't mention the fact that they plan on making a Legion of Doom, right? It's basically was
Right.
supposed to lead into the Batman solo movie with Affleck versus Joe Manganiello. So, boys, what do you think about Deathstroke's look in the film, his appearance, his cameo? So, Flicks, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought he looked phenomenal. Like he looks like Deathstroke, a live action Deathstroke. Really cool to see. Joe Manganiello like looks the part, but in fact of the context here, there's no mention of Legion of Doom, so that was disappointing. Even though you kind of can infer it, but the big disappointment was like I wasn't expecting this type of news to be released, as I'm just not like that wasn't in the comics or anything, and I don't know with the identity of a superhero. I kind of like that staying true to the comics. I know I'm sounding like a homer, but like I just didn't like that myself. And especially with the dysfunction around Batman versus Superman and how Lex Luthor found out about Bruce Wayne being Batman and wasn't that clear in the actual non-ultimate cut, but the theatrical version. I just didn't like that. And again, I'm not going to critique it to my overall score of this movie at all because I'm looking at the epilogue as like a separate thing. That's what I'm doing. So I'm not going to critique it that much.
Okay. Personally, man, he looks awesome. We all knew he looked awesome. He looks like he would play a superhero, supervillain, meaning Joe Manganiello there regarding him. I personally, there seemed to be like a big craze when like there was that test footage that came out for Ben Affleck's solo movie. I think Ben Affleck posted on Instagram. It's like Deathstroke, like a screen test for the character, and people love Deathstroke. He seems like to be a modern Batman villain. Like I am more with the traditional, like the Riddlers, like obviously the Joker, Penguins, all those.
The blue
Deathstroke seems
chips.
like he's kind of came up in like the 90s and early 2000s. He's been a very much a newcomer in terms of a fan favoritism. So it was cool to see him. He's basically, for those who don't know, he's basically Deadpool, but just isn't funny. But
He's
he
very
like can't, he
serious.
can't grow back stuff though. He's human, he's got the same skills, has
Mhm.
swords and everything. So he doesn't have the same exact powers, but Deadpool is a ripoff technically of Deathstroke.
Yeah,
So
similar to
uh I just don't also like I don't know if I trust Joe Manganiello as the main antagonist of a Batman movie. Like
Mhm.
that seems like
That's
a
what I was
bold
about to
stretch
say.
there too. But if it meant more Batfleck, I would have been down. He looked great with the mohawk and the apocalyptic scene. I wonder if that I know that was shot post
During the
2017. That
quarantine.
was one of the reshoots, right, with the
Yeah.
nightmare scene. So I wonder what his actual plans for Deathstroke were at that point. But I think it's almost just like giving Joe Manganiello another shot because he probably won't get another chance to play this role, and I think Snyder knows it means a lot to him.
Similar to, I think what we're gonna just go next is Joker. I think that's basically the same. What we could transition to. Terrible laugh. Like,
The-
do
it's an
you want to jump to
exhausted
that?
laugh.
You want to
That
jump to
dust in
that?
his
Yeah.
throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that laugh was horrendous. I don't know, Doctor O. I just thought about what you just said. That does make sense,
Got
but
dust in his
still,
throat. Yeah.
if this is your last time putting on the makeup, you gotta. I don't know. You gotta do better.
Give me
than
something
that.
more.
Yeah, you gotta do better than that. And what he actually said, as in like the reach around comment, like, come on, like that
Yeah,
was
I was like,
kind of
whoa, whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
And so
That was
other than
ridiculous.
yes, and there's a
I
couple
like
other
rewinded it. I was like, what the heck did he just
yeah.
say?
It was just it's just odd, but in the end, I still watched that scene 3 times. Like, even though I didn't really particularly love Leto, that Joker in this, I still watched it 3 times because of the context and the importance of a Batman Joker being on the screen together at the same time. And actually what was being said, like Joker talking about Jason Todd, like, and Batman talking about Harley Quinn and saying, "I will effing kill you." Make no doubt about
Yeah.
it.
The
Like,
What,
that
F-bomb
was
dude?
drop.
awesome.
So I
He was
guess
waiting for
Batman.
that.
I guess Batman killing people doesn't really. It's not as long as they're like if they're parademons, he can kill them.
Not
And
and
if it's the
not
if it's the
humans.
Joker, he could kill him, or
He
he's
won't
going to
kill him
kill him.
though.
Yeah, but like what? I don't know, but it
I
was.
don't
I mean,
know.
well, it was sick. It was intense. I'm all for it. Go for it, Batman. Kill people.
Right.
I don't care what the crazy comic people think, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Well, I
It's
also
like,
say
well, he
this.
doesn't kill people in the comics. Well, who? Well, guess what? Ben Affleck kills people in the comics. Okay,
Well, I'll also
you got
say
your
this.
Snyder cut.
I'll also say this about Joker is that he had an all-time spin zone where he goes like, "Everyone around you dies. How about you die and save some lives?" Like, that was an all-time spin
it's
zone.
a big time foreshadow for the
That was
next movie too.
Yeah,
that was quite the jab.
yeah, that was an all-time spin
was- that
zone.
was-
Yeah.
I love that.
I was gonna say, in terms of like, I talked about it before, how this is like a superhero epic, and what I mean by that too, it's like as it's
Mhm.
supposed to be. It's a absolute crowd pleaser for the fans. That conversation between Batman and Joker is so damn juicy. Like it has everything you want between the Batman and Joker, where you're talking about the details of their relationship, how they basically can't live without one another, but they're also talking about one of the most important comic book arcs, like aspects of their relationship,
Mhm.
which is Joker murdering, right, his adopted son, which is like something that the fans have been waiting to see for literally decades since the comic came out. And the fact that we were teased that little bit, like I even blogged about it, I think that we need like a Death in the Family like mini series
Live
where
action.
that like where it's like we the leading up to, right, the Joker killing Robin. Like that was just, it was just hearing that made me want to rewind the scene and hear it multiple times, try and see like, oh, did I miss something here? But I thought that was awesome. It's not full redemption for Leto. It's one scene, but people are
Mhm.
hailing it as one of the best interactions between Joker and Batman. Let's not forget the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and also I thought it was interesting in the nightmare scene with Joker how he foreshadowed the nightmare at like the future like of Snyder's vision with like Lois Lane being an integral part and like dying and Batman letting her die and causing all of this. And I think that's the whole problem with Zack Snyder and his vision is that everything's relying on the next. I know we've discussed that before, and this is just another example. And now Warner Media CEO saying there's not going to be another one. So just another cliffhanger, an actual cliffhanger that we might never get. But that's why we have the internet, folks, and we're going to restore the Snyderverse.
Good
I
points.
can't believe I can't believe I'm joining this. I can't believe I'm gonna be. I used to think that those people were obnoxious, ridiculous, like you're living in a fantasy land, and they literally got a studio to come out with a movie because they wanted it to happen.
Plenty of
Like
seats at the table.
that's incredible.
Come join.
That was incredible. And you know what? To the Snyder fans, I will fight with you. I will fight with you to make Justice League 2 happen.
Yes, we are on the wagon. As we wrap up this review, I also want to I brought up a couple ideas for any spin-offs, but what do you guys want to see as a potential project stemming from this movie, no matter what Warner Media says? So Flix, do you have an idea on the top of your head, anything you want to see?
Well, we've mentioned, I think, 3 great ones, as in Death in the Family type, Death in the Family type miniseries and movie preferably for that one. Martian Manhunter will be unbelievable in any form. Preferably, I think a series would be great for him since he wasn't a main Justice League here. There's already a Green Lantern in the works. And then I think the main one for me is Darkseid, whether it's prequel, whether it's involving his first visit to Earth with that action sequence we saw with Zeus and Ares throwing lightning bolts at him, and like all the
thought
Green
that was Gerard
Lantern.
Butler for a sec.
Right? It looks like
I thought it was like this is a 300 throwback, and Zack Snyder knows exactly what he's doing.
So either a prequel or something with Darkseid. It's got a Steppenwolf side story with him about his portrayal. Something. We need more Darkseid. I think those like the main ones coming from this. I won't say anymore, so you guys have a couple here, but the Darkseid for me.
I know Ava DuVernay is supposed to be making a New Gods movie, so I wonder. You have to assume Darkseid is going to be in that, but I don't think it's going to be Ray Porter's Darkseid. That's the only thing. But Nez, what are you looking forward to? What do you want to see the most?
I want to see Ben. I want to see a not old Batman. Like the Batman that we got in this DCEU in the Snyderverse or whatever is old, and he's been fighting crime for 20 years. I want to see him fight crime 15 years ago. Like I want to see that. I want to see Alfred in like a Batman solo movie. I know we're getting a Batman solo movie.
You're in luck.
with Pattinson. No, but I want to see Affleck. I want to see Batfleck again.
Jeremy Irons, was pretty good in this, by the way.
He looked younger at the end of the movie. He looked younger.
He did. This whole thing though, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm just like, dang, I wish Ben Affleck got his own Batman movie before this. I mean, and that's the whole issue. There should have been more movies before they even got to Justice League. They were trying to catch up with that. You know, we've been over it a million times. They're trying to catch up with Marvel, but I think that this universe could have used a Ben Affleck Batman movie, and I would just like to see it. I don't care about the timing.
Right. Okay, boys, I think it's time to throw out some scores. What do you say? Flex, what are you giving Zack Snyder's Justice League?
So we've been hailing this the entire time, and now like I didn't say enough drawbacks to it, so I feel like my score is going to be like totally completely different from what we've been saying. But I gave this a 78. I think this is a great movie, but it does have some flaws in it. Like we mentioned the dialogue, right? Just for one, there's just some that is just like kind of ridiculous here. Gal Gadot being one of them. Like I don't belong to anybody when I wasn't even referring to her. Just stuff like that.
I belong to no one.
And I do think the comic relief, even though you do need some, right? You do need the comic relief in a 4-hour movie. But like Batman, way too much. Like I have 6 satellites.
The Flash,
the
Flash.
A little overkill with the Flash
Batman
as well.
Was good time.
But why is he doing
it? Too hard to be funny.
It's Batman. He like at the end in the epilogue, he's lost his parents, literally murdered in front of him.
No,
his
I get it.
Adopted son.
Batman was not dark enough at all.
He's like gotta have faith. When they're
gotta have faith.
That's him reaction. That's him reaction to the death of Superman and him rising again. That's different. Like you can't be sad all the time just because your parents die.
I know, but he was way too happy-go-lucky for Batman.
Yeah, especially for the end of
the world.
That's
like emo and mysterious.
It was nothing compared to 2017's Justice League. That was a whole different story. That was disgusting what I saw on screen. This is nothing like that.
But all right, so
I thought Batman was about to break out into song and dance.
Just a couple other things. Lois Lane. I didn't love Lois Lane in this. Didn't love her. I thought there were other scenes like the football scene with Wisconsin, and I thought that was just utter ridiculous. That was just terrible. I thought just
kind of
god
expected,
awful.
You know.
And honestly, but besides those points, I did really like this movie. I think 78 is just like me not trying to overhype it because it's so much better than the 2017 one. So I don't want to like say, oh, it's 100, right? Because it's not the best thing I've ever seen. So I'm just trying to like simmer down my excitement for it right now because I've watched this movie twice in 48 hours. Like 8 hours of that has been watching this movie. So
Wow.
I got to simmer
It's
it
a
down
full
a little
work
bit.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm a little upset, and I'm not trying. I gave it a 79. I gave it a 79, and I've set very similar gripes. I just think Batman wasn't dark enough. I think the Flash was just trying way too hard to be funny, and it just
Mm-hmm.
like none
Is
of
she
those
into
jokes
younger
really
guys?
landed, or they landed, and like when they did, I was just like, yeah, okay. Like I would like smirk, but like I don't know, just to compare to Marvel, like Star-Lord will have me laugh out loud. Like I'll laugh out loud to like that. I didn't really get those chuckles when they were going for them, And then Batman, it's just like you gotta have faith, like woo. Like I don't know, it was
And
just
the
not.
set.
It was, but at the same time, still a good movie. I still
Mhm.
enjoyed it. This is a C plus. You got a 79. Your teacher refuses to round it up to a B minus because you were acting out in class, as DC has been. And yeah, that's my score, 79. It was my score before the movie. I just want to say that's why I gave Ricky Flicks that look when he gave his score.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with 84. I'm usually the optimist. I would say me and Naz are primarily optimists when it comes to movies, in terms of scoring them. But I need to say this was a much more complete story, and that's why I liked it so much. It connected things that weren't explained in the original Justice League. My score might be bumped up because of the failures of the previous Justice League, but I watched this movie twice, just like Ricky Flicks, and I'm confirmed with my like feelings towards it. Um, I thought like your guys' points about like the humor. Yes, it's a Zack Snyder movie. You're not like anticipating it to be the funniest thing of all time. I thought Barry Allen was fine. I didn't think it was that cringy. I thought Batman was great. Like it's like a different kind of Batman. All we see is for Batman is like him dwelling his parents' death, reacting to his parents' death. We finally have a Batman with a different motive. Like he's trying to build something following the loss of like basically trying to fix his own problem, his own issue. Like he tried to
Mhm.
kill Superman. Like that's how dark is that? Like and then like he literally dies. Like I messed this up. I gotta fix this. It's a whole different type of Batman that we're seeing
Mhm.
here. The action was incredible. Steppenwolf was a much improved villain. You have like
Yeah.
the teased big bad that was looming over the movie. The scale of this movie was otherworldly. Like it felt
Mhm.
so big. And when you compare it to 2017 with Steppenwolf, you feel like it feels like a generic story. This was not a generic story. This went in another route than Marvel. Like this was so different. We're also talking R-rated. We got language in here. We got intense violence. Like it was way different than like people are trying to make a comparison to like Infinity War and Endgame. But I don't even think that's a fair comparison because when you look back at it, this is the first time this group of heroes is actually coming together. The right comparison would be to the first Avengers, right? That's the first time these heroes are meeting up, right? 2012, Marvel's The
Yep.
Avengers. And so we instantly compare it to Endgame because of the scale of this movie. And that just shows you what could have been, right, for these next two. And I love the way, like, this whole universe, the fandom, that was just living up to fan expectations. Obviously, I'm a massive comic book fan, so I love what I saw, right? And it was I thought it was a good interpretation of the character.
Yeah.
So I'm
It
going to
was
go with
superhero porn. It was amazing. Like,
yeah,
come on
it was
now.
awesome. It was a superhero epic. I'm
Yeah.
trying to like emphasize, and I keep saying
Art,
100
superhero art. Yeah.
I just googled superhero porn and I did not get the Justice League.
times.
I'm just kidding. I didn't Google that. That was just a weird way to frame it.
Also, I know we should round out, but one more quick thing with Batman. They go to the most radioactive place in the world, and he's not doesn't have anything covering his face or anything. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that till you just said
And
it.
also his voice was off like throughout every time he was in the suit. Like it was
I
just
like I
different.
like that they did it that way because I think I could take them way more seriously when they do the voice effects than like if it's just a
But
guy
the
going
effects
like
were
this.
off. But the
The
effects were off.
effects each time. Well, so
It was like a little different.
I was about to say, every time he spoke, he sounded like it sounded a little different. It
Right.
was weird.
Inconsistent.
It kind of threw me off a little bit.
Also,
But
I just mentioned that.
we got to give a quick shout out to that flash scene at the end. That's gonna go down as
Ooh.
one of the best superhero scenes, like at the end of a movie. Like that's like it also had those big moments, and that was one of them.
Yes.
And it kind of and it also gave like Barry Allen's character something to do other than push a truck. You know, it was good. That's because that was the big problem with 2017 in my
Oh,
opinion.
the Superman Flash fight scene much improved from the 2017 version. That was insane too. With going
That was
super speed
sick.
against each other and
Oh my god,
That shit was
Superman coming back and
crazy.
fighting all of them was sick.
it was so much better.
Yeah.
That
This
was
one.
sick. But I do have one issue. I do have another issue that I want to talk about. Aquaman did not even use any of his like aqua powers, just flying around with the trident.
Gotham
Yeah.
I thought
Harbor.
I
That's
thought at
it.
some point that they were gonna do that he was gonna do some sort of like like bring some like
Oh.
dolphins to like come beat up some some parademons or whatever. But he didn't really use
Some
his like water powers. He was flying around stabbing with the trident, which is cool.
Mhm.
But like, why not just be Trident Man at that point? Right? I mean, he's Aquaman.
Yeah, you might have to evolve to that character.
But all right, guys. Any last final comments before I throw it over to Ricky Flicks for top billing?
That's all I got.
Thank you, Zack
All right.
Snyder.